Okay, so here we go. This is part of the adventure. I've got this gouged out, did all of the shaping that I want. It, it looks good. I mean, there's a look to the gouging, but I didn't do it uniformly, and I'm not going to try to fix it. I've been planning on sanding this thing out smooth. Some people have given me a bit of an argument about it, but I'm going to persist, and I want to sand this out. I've got one of these flat discs on my right angle grinder, and I'm hoping, I'm hoping that I can feather this stuff in. I've got myself a little 1/4 inch of cheating space there, and I haven't touched the bottom yet, and it's got some deep marks in it a little bit. So I think I can get through this thing. We're going to see. You and I will know together real soon. Wow. Wow, this very heavy duty sort of sanding thing. It's not a woodworking tool in any stretch of the imagination. But now I don't want to sand this, and I don't want to sand too much of that, so I think what I'm going to do is shoot a little teeny bit of black or some sort of colored paint on this thing so that I can see what I'm doing a little bit better than peering down at that thing while I'm running. Let me be right. All right, I've got this little spray can. This is shot, it turns out, but it doesn't matter. This is what I want it to do. Damn, that's crappy. I don't ever clean these things after I use them, so I mean it makes sense. What I'm concerned about is sanding too much of the bottom, so let's get the bottom. Now I'll be able to see when I hit it. And I don't want to sand too much of this outer rim, so let's take a look at that. There we go. There. Now I can see what I'm doing a little bit better. Cool. See that? See how that paint just makes all that happen? Loving it. Cool. That is way cool. Come around this edge here. Oh, that is super. That is super. I'm going to jump from here to there. This is super. This is super. All right, come down this. This is great. This is just great. One more little bit over here. I think I can reach. All right. Now you can see I've come onto the surface. I've cut into what I'm thinking of is the bottom. I think I want to run through this just so I don't get a little bit of that. I think I'm going to run this back and forth across, in quotes, the bottom real quick. Get rid of this. And then be ready for regular sanding, whatever that is. Oh, look at this thing. This is coming together. This is coming together so well. All right. Come on, come on. Here we go. And that's the last little bit. I could go around and chase this. This is kind of a crude tool, as you can probably see. This is pretty good. Got some spots. All right, now I'm going to get a better sander, something that isn't so aggressive, and do a little dressing inside, just for the heck of it. See how it looks. All right, I'm going to get, I guess, find another sander, get some sandpaper on it, do a quick attack. All right, here we go. Quick attack as soon as I plug it in. This seems like it's got a kind of a rough paper, but it's actually 150. I can do better. Get a little bit of 80 grit here. See how that works. This is 100. Somebody's been repackaging. That's funny. This is an old used 80. What the hell? Just get rid of that. All right. You know, it's just not sharp enough. This is hardwood, and that last thing was, you know, a 60 grit. It's pretty heavy duty. This is a much more aggressive 80. All right, good. It's smoothing up every place I get to. I just have to get to every place, you know? I could use spray paint for this, but I don't want to mess up the sandpaper. The spray paint thing works really well. I'm going to remember that. Alright, for the most part, that's looking pretty good. Okay, let's get to sanding. I'm going to anchor this a little bit. Alright. Well, that makes a lot of noise, but I'm being very productive. This is super. The pencil does the same kind of thing as the paint. The paint's a little more thorough, but the trick is to get a color into the low spots, because you want to sand, you know, not till you get the high spots, but till you get the low spots. I probably don't need to tell you that, but still, it's a, yeah, anyway. There's a little bit of a fold of sorts right here. Let's get rid of that. That is spectacular. Look what I accomplished. Okay. All of those gouge marks, virtually, all those gouge marks out, gouge marks, and I'm, you know, partway sanded toward done. That's great. That's just great. There's some spots still, I know. There's one. There's one right there. Still something right there. I'm just going to stay right with this thing and knock these things. Is right there. We're real close. Those are virtually nothing. all set. Geez, that's really good. I'm really pleased. I'll bet you are too. Look at that. So this is 80 grit. I'll do a 120 quick one, then a 180 on top of that. Shellac it, and then do a 220 on top of that. And boy, I've got a low spot right there. Nice. Got it. Ooh, left myself a ridge right there. Remembering in all of this that you with your hands you can feel something the thickness of a sheet of paper, right? Which is about 3/1000 of an inch. So it's not like it's not like it's a lot of surface variation. Just little spots that I can feel are a little high, a little bit low, a little bit of a divot. All right, well that is looking pretty darn good. Next is running this thing through the table saw, at least at first. Get that, that, and that sawn 2.5 inch, 1/4 of an inch to nothing at 2.5. 2.5, we'll see what that looks like. 2.5, looks like that. So remember that trick I did with the compass? Hooking the edge of the compass over the edge of the board. Because this compass, this is a great compass because it's got this notch built into it. So now I can do that. So this will be my table saw project to try to get this business beveled, leaving me with just this spot right here to be the bottom. The edge will be thin, and it'll look pretty nice. And then I'll start the process of getting a finish on it. I may want to go in and plug a couple of these little wormholes. I may want to do that now. A little bit of wood dough, which is not unbelievably dissimilar from the color of the wormholes. I'm not trying to disguise the holes. They're holes, just most of the holes, most of the irregularities in the piece of wood are filled with the detritus, the wormhole shit, you know? Worm borer, powder post beetle borer holes. They pack them with their chewed up pieces of wood. But some places, the way that I've cut it or handled it, they've fallen out. So I just assume they were all filled in. Makes finishing a lot easier. I like it. Okay, that's done. Wow, I'm knocking through this. So next, be sawing the back. Then I have to do some carving around the edges. I can do that. And then some smoothing. And sand the thing out. Couple of different grits, shellac, some stain. I want to get this into the red tones a little bit, orangey. Oh, I know what I'll do. I'll use amber shellac. That'll give me a nice orange tone to it. I like that. All right, it's a plan. We'll see you tomorrow. Great. I'm liking this wood filler, by the way, in case you're watching. It's working pretty well. For me, it's a nice color. So, they have that. Cool. Okay, well, I just ran this thing through the table saw. Not my, I mean, you'd just be happy you didn't have to watch that. Wasn't my finest moment. But I got a couple of marks. This, if you recall, this is kind of an awkward oval. It's got two relatively long straight sides that intersect. So I ran those on the bed of the table, so I'd stayed away from the ends, and I didn't do anything about the radius in the center. That will solve itself. But I ran it through first with the blade up 1.25 inches, and then up at 2 1/4, and I'm headed for this line right here. I didn't quite make it. Good enough. Does make the edge nice and thin. This will be great. Thin. Okay, so I got two more over here. The grain's a little bit more goofy here, so I don't know how this is going to go. I may have to clamp this down and attack it with a tool. Let's rearrange. All right, so here we go. I think I can get this off now. Get a prying tool. How about a stout chisel? This is a stout chisel. I can pry with this. Wow, that's grainy tight. Grainy, grainy, grainy tight. This is where that grain's all crossed in that crotchy area. Makes sense. Makes sense. All right, so that's that business, boy. It burns. So now get this ground out. I think I'm going to try the grinder again on these ends. See if I can trim them down with that. Let's see what happens. This is pretty light. I think I cut too much off it. I think I made these too thin. Oh well, move along. So let's get this somehow clamped down and see what I can do with the grinder. Be back. Okay. Bear with me, this could go in any direction at all. Okay, so now I'm going to try to buzz these up, get rid of this lip, and then try to work this corner down. Okay, it's going to be fun. It's going to be lots of fun. Looks like I missed on my angle, and I'm going to come in a little bit further than that 2.5. Looks like it's going to be around 2 3/4, almost 3. Which means this is going to be just so I have something to look at, right? Like that. We'll see what that does. Okay, now I don't know if you notice if this thing's wiggling back and forth. I like to put a little something here to stop that. So let's do that. Throw a clamp on it. Get it deeper. Let's see what this does. Alright, this little corner, it's not awful, got a mark right there. Let's get that. It's the only real problem, there's a high spot there. This is a little bit thicker than I really want, but it's not awful. Let's see what happens. That's, I mean, it's wicked cool. Let's reset a little bit and try another spot. Let's try this. Thickness is good there, then it gets too big there. So let's see what we can do. There. Don't touch this with your fingers. Pretty cool. Pretty cool, pretty cool. Now we're going to have a problem holding this because I've got this edge all pulled away. Let's try putting something on. Clamp 2. Yeah, that's no good at all, but something. Turns out holding is a big problem here. Huh. I didn't see that coming. Try something like that. Now at least I can push in that direction a little. All right. This is pretty cool. All right, so in the process of doing that, of course, this is cracked right here. I also got a splinter in my finger, but that's another thing. All right, this has got a crack in it, so I'm going to have to get some glue into that crack and clamp this thing overnight before I do any more fun stuff to this. All right, let's take care of that crack, and then, you know, we're closing in. Expose some more holes. That's fun. I'm going to round this edge because I can't leave it square like this. Some more holes. Let's get this crack taken care of. And, you know how that's going to go. Force some glue in, throw a clamp on, right across like that. Be fun. All right. All right, so we can see the crack right there. It's a thing. Question is, am I going to do more sanding on the inside or the outside? I think the inside at this point. I'm going to go with the inside. It doesn't matter what I think. Okay, so now glue. All right, that's enough glue, I am sure. So I'm using the thin edge of the back edge, the square edge of the razor blade as a tool. As you put the glue in, things have a tendency to soften. You can frequently get further down in the crack than you ever thought you were going to. Now, how much of this glue is required, no one really knows, right? I'm going to take a quick look at the other side, see if I got penetration. Yes, you can see a little bit of glue on the back side of this thing. A little bit. That's great. That means I've got glue all the way through the joint. Not back there, maybe, but everywhere else. Let me pick up a little bit. All right, I'm liking that. For repair, that's going to be good. All right, now let's get rid of some of that on the surface and then come up with some way to pull this together. I'm thinking I'm going to lightly clamp 2 blocks of wood on either side and then put a bar clamp across them so they don't have any folding. That's what I think. All right, let's clean this a little bit and do a little clamping. The point of cleaning it is, you can see the pieces of wood in case you're creating a problem, and you'll also get a little bit of a positive feedback on the am I squeezing it enough in the right places. All right, let me get to that. All right, here we go. So I've got a couple of blocks of wood clamped down to the bench so they won't wander too much, and I believe I'll be able to take this and squeeze them together. And in the process of doing that, I will force some activity on this bad joint. Where am I here? That's not working. Let's think this thing through. It's going to have to be like that. My problem's right down here. It's not up there, but that's where I'm grabbing it. So. All right, and I'm getting beads of glue rising up on the surface where I've otherwise previously wiped it. Okay, beads of glue. All right, gonna call that good. Tomorrow, we'll get back to that one. Kind of disappointing, but fix things as they come. I just noticed I've got 3 little holes in this thing. I'm gonna do a little more putty, and then we'll see you tomorrow.